Welcome to the June edition of the B2C Marketers Group London. Those observant amongst you will realise that this isn't the recording of the live event. Unfortunately, we had difficulties with that recording, so we're very lucky that Florin has agreed to record his talk. So I'm just going to take you through some of our announcements and then we'll get straight into the talk. So my name's Kerry Townsend. I'm a manager at Accenture. I've been working with Marketing Cloud for a number of years now, and I usually am joined with my co-host Jimson Lee, who is a co-founder at Cloud Analysts and is well known within the UK Marketing Cloud community, as he's been working in this space for a long time, providing leadership. So today we're going to go through a quick welcome, then some announcements, and then we'll get right into the talk, which is about SMS subscription management with Florin Verleen. Then there are some questions at the end before we wrap up this evening. So just so that everybody knows, outside of this meeting, this is how you can get in touch with us. So we have a collaboration group on the Trailblazer community, which is trailblazer.salesforce.com. And this is a quick link to that community. Please come and log in there and share any thoughts, suggestions, questions on talks that you would like to see in the group in that particular community. We also have a YouTube channel, which is where you'll be able to find this particular recording. And then we also have a Twitter handle where we look to announce our meetings. So I just want to take a moment to reflect. Equality is extremely important within the Trailblazer community and within this group and across the Salesforce ecosystem as a whole. In the US, we have become very aware of some recent events which for some members of our community are very traumatic and triggering. And we'll have seen organizations like Salesforce and many others, including my own at Accenture, come out and stand with the Black community against racism and taking direct action. We've also seen individuals taking direct action, both in the US and in the UK, to take steps to eradicate the racial injustice, which is unfortunately all too prevalent. This COVID situation has given the time and space for that to become more visible in our media. And now it is important that we stand by all members of our community in order to move towards a more equitable space. I myself have realized that I have known very little about this topic, and I am doing a lot of reading, which I am finding extremely valuable. I want to really highlight that this particular group and all Trailblazer community groups are meant to be a welcoming space where everybody can find a place. And if anybody would like to talk to me about that in more detail, then I welcome having those conversations if that's ever found that that's not the case, or if that there's more that we can do. So I think a lot of you will be now aware of the Marketing Champions program. So for members in the Salesforce community who are knowledgeable in Marketing Cloud, Pardot or Datorama, Salesforce run a program called the Marketing Champions program. Now that is, people can join that once a year, and this year the 2020 champions were announced in April. And those are a group of people who are out in the community, out online, sharing their knowledge and expertise and making themselves known and helping others. So we have a number of people in the UK who are now Marketing Cloud champions. So I would like to congratulate everybody that's listed on this slide here: Alicia, Jason, Christina, Sergio, and Simon. I think we are very excited to have you talk at this particular group, and I hope over the next few months that we'll have talks from all of these people, or we'll be able to signpost them to the blogs that they have been created or other content. Our main talk today is going to be on subscription management. So we're lucky enough to have Florin here to talk us through a recent use case that he's actually implemented. So in this session, Florin's going to talk us a little bit about some of the key components of SMS to give some context. He's going to talk about the current subscribe capability in Marketing Cloud, and then he's going to go on and describe a recent use case that he's implemented where he's extended the standard functionality. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and hand over to you, Florin.
Thank you, Gary. Let me share the screen. Yeah, hopefully everything's all right and you can see the presentation.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Excellent. So for today's session, what I prepared is something related to subscription management in MobileConnect in Salesforce Marketing Cloud. And what I want to speak in a bit more details about is how we can manage subscriptions, but especially unsubscribes in MobileConnect. So first, I would like to mention a couple of things about the SMS channel. So the latest marketing research have shown that customers prefer SMS channel for receiving offers and brand updates. And to sustain this, we can see some very strong figures for the SMS channel performance. About 98% is the open rate for SMS. About 90% of the SMS messages are read within 3 minutes from the moment they've been delivered. And about 3/4 of customers are okay with receiving offers and brand updates via SMS, of course, after they have given consent. And we can see coupons delivered via SMS are redeemed 10 times more than coupons delivered through other channels, which is a very strong case for the SMS channel. So going forward, I would like to go into our topic in MobileConnect, and to prepare our conversation today, I would like to have a look at some key elements in MobileConnect. Let's start with short codes, short and long codes. First, what are these codes? And the answer is very simple. You can see them as your MobileConnect account phone numbers. You know, in the same way you use a mobile number to send text messages, in the same way MobileConnect needs a number to allow the exchange of SMS messages between the MobileConnect platform and customers. There are two types of codes, short and long. In some cases, in some countries, you have to use a short code, you have no choice. But in most of the countries, you will have the flexibility to choose between a short code and a long code. And of course, there are some considerations, some things to take into account when you decide to use a short code or a long code. So for instance, a long code is normally something that is dedicated to an account, but you can also have a short code dedicated to your account, or you can have it shared across multiple accounts. it is very often to see shortcodes shared across multiple accounts because, as we know, it's a bit expensive to have a dedicated shortcode for your account. But that's also possible, it's not very uncommon to see a dedicated shortcode to an account. A key difference between shortcodes and long codes is that long codes can be used to communicate with customers in different countries. So it allows international sense, whereas shortcodes are dedicated, are specific to one country, and you can reach customers in that country only. And of course, the send performance is very important, and usually it is known that for large sends, shortcodes perform better. Of course, it depends on your use case. You have to consider carefully whether for your case it's better to use a shortcode or a long code. It depends on the availability on the market, but yeah, there are some considerations to take into account when you decide what code to use. Another element that I want to mention here is the keyword. Keywords are very important in MobileConnect. You can see them as topics that you can subscribe your customers to. And you must have keywords, and you must subscribe your customers to a keyword before you are able to send SMS messages to customers associated with that keyword. All SMS messages must be associated to a keyword. And in MobileConnect, we can create keywords. We can create ourselves those keywords. Now it depends on the type of short code or long code you are using, whether it's a dedicated private code or is shared with other accounts. There can be some limitations. If we use a shared code, then some keywords might already be in use with other accounts. The number of keywords that we can create can be limited as well. So again, it's a good point to take into account when deciding to go for a shared or a private code. When naming the keywords, we need to take into account some criteria. The keyword name is not case sensitive and must be unique. As I said, it must be unique per short or long code. The name can be between 2 and 25 characters long. And when we create those keywords, it is better to use GSM characters that are available, that are allowed by the GSM standard. I included here a link to the Salesforce documentation, and you can see on this page the full list of characters that are accepted by the GSM standard. But of course, in some cases, especially when you work with in markets that use languages with special characters, best examples here are Chinese, Japanese, Korean. In those markets, you can try to implement keywords that use non-GSM words, non-GSM characters. But the main point is that you need to test and retest those keywords. Maybe you could also try to confirm with the local mobile carrier whether they support those characters. And an important message from Salesforce is that they cannot guarantee that non-GSM keywords would be supported. And now, speaking about keywords, we have to mention stop keywords. And stop keywords, here we have two types. There are some default keywords available for all MobileConnect accounts, and also some custom stop keywords that can be defined in the platform. If we speak about the default stop keywords, there are a list of keywords available, as I said, by default. Those are listed on this slide. Basically, how they work is when a customer will send a text including one of these keywords at the beginning of the message, those mobile numbers will be automatically unsubscribed from all keywords associated to the shortcode that was sent to. If we refer to custom stop keywords, those behave in exactly the same way as the default keywords, just that we can define our own keywords, our own terms. And here, if we want, we can define keywords with including non-GSM characters. The thing is, when we define a custom stop keyword, we can also specify an auto-response message associated with that keyword, which means whenever someone will reply or will send a message to a shortcode with the keyword that we defined, Marketing Cloud will automatically trigger this auto-response message. Now, the good part about this auto-response message is that we can include script on this message, and there are lots of things we can do. We can capture some data. We can insert some values in a data extension, for instance, to use it later. A nice feature for this auto-response message is that we can choose to suppress the auto-response. We can choose not to send an auto-response to the customer, but still have this script code executed. So whatever we want to do with the script will happen without sending a message to the customer. In some cases, it can be a nice feature to have. Now, having mentioned short codes and long codes and keywords, another key element that I want to mention here is the message templates available in MobileConnect. There are quite a few templates available, but I want to mention only 3 of them in this on this slide. These 3 I think are important for our topic today. The outbound message template allows us to define a simple SMS message. This message can be scheduled to be sent immediately or at a specific time. We can also trigger this message via API, or we can choose to run it as part of an automation. Another template, which is a bit different in functionality, is text response. So text response is a message that we can define in the platform. We can associate it with a keyword. And as I said, every time someone will send a message with that specific keyword, Marketing Cloud will trigger the text response. So you see it's very similar with the auto response that we defined for a stop keyword, But in this case, it's not about stop keywords, but about regular keywords that we can create in the platform. So whatever the keyword is, we can assign text response to it. Another template that I wanted to mention here is mobile opt-in. This SMS template allows us to invite people to give consent for receiving text messages. We will see this mobile opt-in template can be configured for single opt-in strategy, but we can also implement a double opt-in process. And we will talk about this a bit later. But I just want to mention that this double opt-in process can be configured for customers to text twice to confirm their subscription, but can also be configured to request confirmation for opt-in and then a confirmation for the age. So customers would either send their age or their date of birth. But as I said, we will come back to the mobile opt-in in a bit. Until then, once we've mentioned all these key elements related to subscription in MobileConnect, I would like to have a look at use case. And as an example, I would speak about a company, a business in the luxury industry. And this business is trying to make use of different channels to reach out to their customers. Being a business in the luxury sector, they have been relying very much on the experience they created for their customers in shop. But now, given the circumstances, they are forced to try to reach out to their customers through other channels. And of course, they have a very important aggressive presence online, but they also use more and more the SMS channel to promote their products and services. So let's take a look at this super luxury store. As I said, they are business in the luxury sector. They have these three verticals that you can see on this slide: jewelry, handbags, and watches. And lately, they have been running campaigns, as I said. They have been present on social media, various digital channels. They managed to get more and more customers to visit their website. They managed to increase their sales online. And so let me introduce Anna, one of their customers. She landed for the first time on the website, and she was browsing the product catalog. She kind of likes what she can find on this website. She is interested in some of the products, and she decides to stay in touch. She decides to create an account. And on the registration form, she provides some personal details. We have her contact details, email and mobile number. And we know that she prefers to be contacted via email or SMS, and also that she is interested in watches and handbags. Now, once Anna submits the form, we might be able to send her emails and SMSs as she already given us the consent. But of course, there are different rules, and in some countries, you need to implement a double opt-in process before you are able to send SMS messages to customers. Even if you've got this form, and Anna has mentioned that one of her preferred channels is SMS, you still have to go through this double opt-in process. And how do we implement this process? Well, the process itself is quite simple. If we look at the standard double opt-in process, it requires customers to text twice to confirm their subscription. So normally, the first text will have to come from Anna with the word join, or it can be another keyword that we specify. And once we receive this join message, we can follow up with this mobile opt-in template. We can follow up with an auto response asking Anna to reply yes to confirm her subscription. And only after Anna replies yes, which is her second message, only then we consider the subscription complete, and we can go ahead and send SMSs to Anna. But in this case, because Anna has already submitted an online form and she specified that she is okay for being contacted by SMS, we can do something with MobileConnect REST API. Specifically, we can use MobileConnect QMO to generate a mobile originating message and to simulate this first incoming message with join. And this will basically replace the first incoming message. We will consider that that's fair, that's enough, because we already have the consent submitted online. But we can then follow up with a message asking Anna to reply yes to confirm that she is indeed okay with receiving SMS messages from our business. And in this case, Anna will only have to text yes once to confirm her mobile subscription. And yeah, this is basically it about the double opt-in. Once we sorted out this subscription thing, we can, as I said, we can proceed and send Anna SMS messages. Let's take a look at this case. Let's say we send a message related to watches, and Anna is happy to receive this message because she is actually interested in watches. In the message, we specify that she could reply stop to opt out, but she's, as I said, she's okay with this message, so she wouldn't opt out at this point. Later on, we can target Anna in another campaign related to handbags. So Anna receives the message. Again, we tell her that she can reply stop if she wants to opt out. What happens in MobileConnect at this point is that we, in order to send those messages to Anna, we subscribed her mobile number to those two keywords, watches and handbags. And now in the platform, Anna's mobile number will be opted in, as we can see here. But what happens if Anna decides to unsubscribe from one of the messages? So let's assume for the exercise that Anna will reply stop to the message related to watches. Now at this point, you may think that Anna will be unsubscribed from watches. What happens, in fact, in MobileConnect is that Anna will be unsubscribed from all keywords associated with the shortcode that sent the original message. So in this case, Anna will be unsubscribed from both watches and handbags. And this can be a little bit confusing, especially for those who are more familiar with the email channel, because as we know, in the email channel, we have publication lists, and those publication lists allow the customer to unsubscribe at least level. So they don't have to unsubscribe from all email communications. They can be unsubscribed only from that specific communication. Well, as I said, we would expect, or we might expect this behavior from keywords in MobileConnect, but it's not the case. The standard functionality will actually opt out the customer from all keywords associated with the code. Now that I mentioned the email channel, as I said, publication lists allows the flexibility for customers to unsubscribe at least level. But the question is, can we have this functionality in MobileConnect? Can we have keywords in MobileConnect to behave just like publication lists for email channel? And the answer is yes. We can implement something like this. And then the next question is how? How could we implement this process? How can we override the standard unsubscribe process in MobileConnect? What I want to achieve is to have Anna opted out from watches because she replied to the message related to watches, but still have her opted in for handbags. And in order to implement a process like this, we need to make use of some elements in Marketing Cloud. We will need an unsubscribe keyword, something that I call unsubscribe keyword, and I will explain a bit later. We need a text response message, and we need some, just a little bit of code, SQL and SSJS. And as part of the server-side JavaScript, we will use Marketing Cloud REST API. But before I go to explain how we implement this process, I want to take a look at what is available in terms of data in Marketing Cloud, data related to MobileConnect. First, if we check out the data views, we can see that there are 3 data views related to MobileConnect. We have the SMS subscription log, we have the SMS message tracking, and there's another data view called undeliverable SMS. Now it's pretty intuitive what data is available in each one of these data views. And for our case, you may think that SMS subscription log would give us the data that we need, but actually SMS message tracking has more attributes and more data that is valuable for our case. And if we take a closer look at this SMS message tracking, there are lots of attributes available, many of them valuable for different scenarios. I would say that this data view is a great asset if you want to create custom reports related to your MobileConnect activity. But what interests us here are the attributes that I highlighted on this slide, basically the subscriber key, which is our contact key in Marketing Cloud, mobile number, of course, and keyword ID. Why keyword ID? We will see in a bit that keyword ID is used as part of the API code, API call. But as I said, there are lots of other attributes. You can see the keyword itself, the name of the keyword that we defined in the platform. You can see the shortcode for outbound messages. You can see whether the message is inbound or outbound, and so on. You can even see the text of the message. Another place where we can look for data related to MobileConnect is Contact Builder, and to be more specific, is the Data Designer, where we can find those attribute groups. One of the attribute groups available in there is MobileConnect Data. And in this MobileConnect Data attribute group, we have two main tables. One is MobileConnect Demographics, which is linked to the contact model in Marketing Cloud with a relationship of one-to-many on contact ID. The other table is MobileConnect Subscriptions, and this table is linked to MobileConnect Demographics, again with a relationship of one-to-many on mobile number. And if we look at these MobileConnect subscriptions, we can see there are some attributes highlighted on this slide. One is keyword, and this attribute on this data extension actually contains the keyword ID. So it's not the keyword name that we defined in the platform, but it's the keyword ID. Why is this important? Because keyword IDs are unique. So even if you have the same keyword in your account associated with different shortcodes, so keywords with the same name associated to different shortcodes, those keywords will have different IDs. So this is how we can uniquely identify a keyword in this table without having to refer to the shortcode. And also on this table, we have opt-in status and opt-out status. These two attributes are very important because if we want to achieve what we proposed to opt out customers at keyword level, these are the fields that we need to update. And how can we update those fields? As I said, with API. And what we need is to know the values of those three key attributes. So that's contact key, mobile number, and keyword ID. And make an API call to contacts, v1 contacts, and our API call will be a HTTP patch request because we only want to make a partial update on the object in Marketing Cloud, specifically on the MobileConnect subscriptions data extension. Okay, so how can we get the values of those attributes, contact key, mobile number, and keyword ID? Well, first we need to make a plan, and we'll need to define a keyword. As I said, an opt-out keyword or unsubscribe keyword. So this is basically a keyword that we can define in the platform. So for instance, in our case, if we have the keyword watches, our opt-out keyword will be no watches. And this is only an example. And then for this no watches keyword, we need to define, as I said before, a text response message. So what happens when someone will reply or will send a message with no watches? This text response will be triggered and something will happen. If we include AMP script on this auto response, on this text response message, then AMP script will be executed. Otherwise, we can follow up with an auto response to the customer. Whatever we choose, whatever configuration we choose for this text response message, the incoming data, the incoming message will be stored in the SMS message tracking data. So if we look at some attributes in this data view, we will find the subscriber key, we will find the mobile number, we will find the keyword ID, and of course the name of the keyword, the message text, and many other attributes. So once we did all this and the data is in the SMS message tracking data view, what can we do from here? Well, we can just run a simple SQL query. We can create a data extension to store the subscriber key, mobile number, and create a time, yeah, just to make sure that we select only messages that have been created since the last run of this query, so only new messages. And if we take a look at this query, you will notice that we are interested in messages that include no watches. Yeah. So in this case, we just want to know all the customers with their mobile number that have sent us a message with no watches. Why is this important? Because in the next step, we will need to update the subscription of those mobile numbers for the watches keyword. So we can do this, as I said, with an API call. And this is just a code snippet for the API call. On the left-hand side, you can see the payload for the API call. In this payload, as you can see, we populate the contact key value. We specify MobileConnect subscriptions. This is the data extension that we want to update. And then we specify the keyword. And here, for the keyword attribute, what we specify here is the keyword ID for watches. So if I just go back for a second on this slide, as I said here, we want to get the list of customers who sent no watches. But here, we want to update the subscription for the keyword watches. So that's why we submit the keyword ID for watches. And of course, we specify the mobile number and the value for the opt-in status and opt-out status attributes on the MobileConnect subscriptions. And the next step is to perform the API call. And as I specified before, the method that we are using is patch to make this partial update on MobileConnect subscriptions. Now, for those who want to take a look in details at this code, the full code is available on the link that I included on this slide. And yeah, feel free to check it out. And now I just want to show how this can work, how this can be automated. Once we have the SQL query and the script activity, we can just put them on in an automation. And this automation can be scheduled to run hourly or with a lower frequency. In Marketing Cloud, I think everyone is by now familiar with Automation Studio, so there's no point in saying more on this slide, on this aspect. But what I want to specify is the way we can make this work in real time. So if we want this update on the MobileConnect subscriptions to happen in real time, we need to put the code on a cloud page and make sure that we call this cloud page from the auto response message. So basically, we will just need to put an AMP script code on the text response message associated with the keyword no watches, and make sure we call the cloud page that actually makes the update on MobileConnect subscriptions, but for the watches keyword. So this is something we can do with the code, but the code, instead of having the code in a script activity in Automation Studio, we will have it on a cloud page in Web Studio. Okay, so once we've implemented the process we wanted, how does that work? So let's take the same use case and let's see what happens here. So let's say we send that message, that first message related to watches, to Anna, and she's happy to receive it. But this time, instead of telling her to reply stop to opt out, we will ask her to reply no watches. And of course, we can do the same when we send her the message related to handbags. Instead of asking her to reply stop, we will ask her to reply no handbags. So at this point, as we've seen before, Anna will be opted in because in order to send her those messages, we had to subscribe her mobile number to these two keywords, watches and handbags. But let's see what happens if Anna decides to unsubscribe from watches. Well, in this case, Anna will have to send back no watches. And the process we implemented in the backend will make the update in the MobileConnect subscriptions table. And as an outcome, Anna will be unsubscribed only from watches. And we will be able to still send her messages related to handbags. And this is something that we can have in place. We can override in this way the default behavior of MobileConnect in terms of subscriptions and unsubscribe process. And as I said, this is a process that is more and more requested by businesses, by clients. And until Salesforce will implement something like this, or will allow us to configure the platform to behave like this, until then we can implement something like this. The solution that I presented here is meant to, to give you a better overview on what is available in terms of data in MobileConnect. Is an example of how you can implement this this process, but of course that can be a number of variations for this process, and this use case you may see it like like an inspiration for future implementations. Yeah, so I think this is all I wanted to share with you today. And yeah, feel free to get in touch if you have questions, or just check out my profile or the blog. I try to keep as much as the time allows me. So thank you very much indeed.
So thank you, Florin, for that session, which was very informative, and it's great to see an actual real-life use case, and particularly something that you've currently used and that is very relevant for us as we move forward in this, what can only be described as unknown time. We do have a couple of questions, and one of them relates to how scalable this solution is. So if you had a lot of keywords already, the solution that you proposed means that you also need a stop keyword for each of those. Do you know how scalable it is?
Yes, it's a good question actually. So my use case has been applied on a case where we have basically unlimited number of keywords available, but I can see there are some cases when you are very limited in the number of keywords that you can use, and that's not necessarily a problem. You can avoid creating extra keywords for opt-out by using the original keyword. It's just that you will need to make some tweaks in the code. You may want customers to reply with a specific term, like you can say, instead of no watches, you can say watches stop or watches exit, and then with the code just get those customers who replied the phrase you wanted, and then with the code you can go and update the opt-in and opt-out status. Yeah, so it is something that you can achieve even with a limited number of shortcodes.
Okay, that's really good to know. And we also have a question about what happens in Marketing Cloud where we find that people have shared mobile numbers. So periodically, mobile numbers get recycled, which means it is technically possible for someone to exist, there to be two contacts in the database with one mobile number. Can you give any insight into how that works?
Yes, a quick and short answer is if there are customers' contacts that share the same mobile number, their subscription will be the same. If one of the contacts will opt out from a keyword, then from a shortcode, sorry, then the other contact will be opted out as well. Why is that? Because in MobileConnect, a mobile number has assigned a priority. First, when you have the first contact with a mobile number, it will get the priority 1. Later, if another contact will be created using the same mobile number, this new contact, the mobile number for the new contact will get priority 1. And the mobile number for the other contact will get priority 2, or probably lower if there are more than 2 contacts. The main point is that you can always communicate with the mobile number with priority 1, always. And that's the reason why probably you've noticed before, when you want to include personalization, or you want to run some lookup functions on that mobile number, it will always take the data related to the mobile number with priority 1. Yeah. So again, the short answer is the status will be consistent across contacts, across mobile numbers, contacts with the same mobile number.
Okay, thank you.
Answers the question.
Yes, it does. So I think all that remains from this particular session now is to again thank you, Florin, for taking the time to prepare this presentation and share your knowledge, and also a thank you to my co-lead Jimson, who always supports during these events. So we will see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you indeed for having me. Have a good evening.